All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bruce Evans. I'm the Vice President of Franchise Development here at Capriotti's. And first of all, I'd like to welcome you all. Thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon to learn more about the opportunity, or excuse me, franchise opportunity with Capriotti's. Look, today's a super important day for you. Whether you just started the process of looking into Capriotti's, or you could be well into your due diligence and close to maybe putting together an agreement with us. So there's a quite a mixed group here. But the purpose of today is to really, number one, help you get to know some more folks that are at Capriotti's, and specifically people that you're going to be working with for the development process. And so it really helps for you to get to know us better by meeting more folks involved with Capriotti's, just like, Julie and I love, getting to know you better. So it's all about finding that right fit, right? Is this the right fit for you? And are you the right fit for us? And so it's really a matter of getting to know one another better and building those relationships. And we find that when there's affinity, there, and not to mention, our values, which David Bloom will talk about in a minute. But when there's alignment there, we find that we have very successful long-term relationships. So along with reviewing the franchise disclosure document, talking to franchisees, really understanding the opportunity with the brand, this is also a very important day as well for you to get to know us better. So just some quick housekeeping. If there are any questions at all, feel free to ask. You can ask along the way throughout the presentation. We can either answer live, or we might stop for a minute and go through your question, depending on what that question might be. But we encourage questions. Again, it's this is also an opportunity for you to learn even more about the opportunity with Capriotti. So without further ado, we'd like to welcome our first presenter, David Bloom, our Chief Development and Growth Officer. Welcome, David.
Thanks, Bruce. I appreciate it. Um, I also want to say thanks to everybody that's joining us today. And as Bruce mentioned, I think this is a great opportunity to get to know us a little bit better. So I'm going to kick off with really who we are and what typically brings franchisees to us in the first place. And I think number one, it's just the strength of the brand. As we grow around the country and open up new shops, we're opening two new shops just this week. It seems like there's a new shop every week, but this week we're opening in Virginia and up in Idaho. And both, well, one is an existing franchise partner that's opening a second store, and one is a new franchise partner, but is already working on stores 2 and 3. So um, both great operators, great looking restaurants. And I think the common denominator is we are opening new stores in new markets around the country to record revenues, literally week in and week out. We as a team are blown away by just the strength of these new shops, and the response that we're getting around the country. We're open in almost 30 states today, so really exciting time. And as also Bruce mentioned, today's a great opportunity to just get to know the team a little bit. Obviously, we have a very large team, and every department is sort of built out with lots of people in it. But these are just some of the folks that will work with you to welcome you certainly into the Capriotti system, but also just begin everything that's involved in getting your restaurant open, successfully opened, and then running your restaurant, marketing your restaurant, doing everything we need to do to be successful at what you're doing. Um, Many people that join us started as customers. We hear it all the time. Julia speaks to new potential franchisees. We get inquiries. We get about 5,000 inquiries a year for people interested in joining the brand, and oftentimes it's people that just tried the food and love the food and say, "Man, this is something. This is really special. This is something I really want to bring back to my community." As you have a chance to do some of your homework and get, do a little deeper dive and maybe read some of the national publications and the interviews. It's also, I think, our commitment to being technology forward in running our business. We do an awful lot of speaking on that, whether it's artificial intelligence or robotics or what's happening in the restaurant industry overall that helps us be more efficient, grow the top line, grow the bottom line. We have a really strong reputation in the industry for innovation, both in terms of product or our food and also in terms of technology. All that being said, we're still a young brand. We're still in the early innings of going national. So we have tremendous opportunities around the country for people that are looking to grow and become multi-unit operators. Some of you might already be multi-unit operators with other brands that are looking to add to that portfolio. But if it's your first time in business and our first time opening a restaurant, I think this is a great time to be talking to Capriotti's. Bruce, would you go to the next one? I do like to talk a little bit about who we are, which we just did, but really our mission, our vision, and our values. And our mission's really simple. It is to be, and we this is our fifth year in business, but to be and always be the best tasting, highest quality sandwich franchise in the country. I'll talk more about the product in a minute, but that really defines us. It's as simple as that. We are about having great food and really the kind of food you just can't get anyplace else. Again, I'll talk more about that in a minute. From a value standpoint, though, this is one that's really important to us, and we really would ask that you and your team, whether it's your spouse or an investment partner, what have you, really think about do your personal values align with our values? And they are pretty clear. Number one, we have a passion. Everybody you meet on the call today and everybody that's in our offices or in our, around the country supporting franchisees, all of our franchise partners tend to have this in common. And that is just a passion to be the best. We get up every day and want to be better. Again, whether it's in our product or in our technology or in our service or finding locations or building stores or marketing our stores or training our people. We just get up every day just trying to do it a little bit better than the day before. If that's you, whether, it's in business, in your life, in your business, and coaching your kids or community involvement or whatever it is you do, then you're probably going to love working with us. If you're the kind of person that doesn't like things to change and likes things to stay the same day to day, year after year, then we might not be a good fit for you. So I would just ask you to think about that. Number two, family. Capriotti started as a family business in Wilmington, Delaware 50 years ago. The family lived upstairs and they were roasting whole butterball turkeys and making cheesesteaks downstairs. And today we're what you might call a very sophisticated family office business. Some of the largest institutions and equity groups in the country are invested in us, but they're invested personally, not institutionally, because we like to deal with people, real people, and we look to have long-term relationships with everybody, whether it's our vendor partners. We just had a franchise conference. We had Butterball, who we've been with for decades. We're actually the largest buyer of Butterball turkeys in the world. Or Snake River Farms was there. All of our technology partners were there. Our equipment suppliers. These are people that we've known for years. Our bakers, the bakery that does our bread for us around the country. These are relationships we've had for years. And if you're thinking of joining us, we want to make sure you're going to care about your people, your employees, your team, your community. Those are the kind of people that, really we think are a good fit for us. Integrity is sort of the easy part, black and white. Everybody you either have it or you don't have it. But for us, we define additionally integrity as walk the talk. That means we're going to do everything we physically possibly can do to help you be successful. Like we're always going to go the extra mile, regardless of what happens, going back years with COVID or supply chain shortages or When capital got expensive, interest rates went up. We've always leaned in as a company to really be creative and help our franchise partners grow both their restaurants, open new restaurants, and grow their business through those times. And I think that's part of the reason we've continued to have record growth, record sales, record revenues, year in and year out, year after year. Um, the next one, profitability. This one we define as everyone wins. That means, our long-term success is dependent on you being successful. Our franchise partners, first and foremost, have to win. Our employees, our vendors, anybody we're doing business with, we want to play win-win. That's kind of how we think about the world. That's why I think we have these long-term relationships with people is, yes, everybody needs to get a good return on investment, including us. But our growth, our goals are really achieved by first and foremost helping you win. And then lastly, genuineness. That's just as simple as being 100% real. We want to have real conversations with real people. There's lots of challenges out there in the business world today. And oftentimes the solutions, well, even us being made aware of the problem in the first place, is just by talking to our franchise partners, talking to our vendors, talking to our suppliers, and obviously our team is extremely knowledgeable and experienced. So just us as a group talking with each other, like that's how we get better. That's how we get smarter. We're not a political, where everybody has to look and show up looking the same way and sounding the same way. And we want to work with people that are just like that, right? You may come with a variety of experiences and backgrounds. You might come from finance or marketing or real estate or whatever it is. Technology companies, we have nuclear engineers, we have people that have been, moms for a while, been out of the workplace and their families getting into business. All of them have been very successful with us. And again, it's just a matter of taking everybody's learnings, being able to talk about it, find out, learn together and grow. And that's how we think about getting better, going back to our first value, which is passion. So hopefully these resonate with you. Certainly would ask for you to go back and talk about it with your significant others or your partners or anybody, and make sure they resonate with you. Bruce, our vision, where, in other words, where are we heading right now? Our our sort of strategic plan calls for us to be at 750 profitable shops. We talked about profitability as being a value, all on executing on our uncompromising standards of quality and service by the end of 2032. Where are we today? We've got about 170 or so locations open. We've got I think about another 110 locations already in development today. So we are certainly well on our way to achieving that goal, and we're really excited for it. And we seem to be, as you'll see later, is one of those companies that's been designated the next big national brand. Bruce? One of the questions I think I often get from people is, have you had failures over the years? And if so, what caused them? In our experience, 50 years of experience, it really always boils down to three things that we've got to do. And when we do these things, when we do them well, we see outsized success, and we really hit it out of the park. If we miss on especially the first two, then it causes us problems. So want to really talk about them and make sure you're comfortable with them. The first one is obvious: location, location, location. It's really just finding the right site. Working with our real estate team, you'll hear about from some of them today, but making sure we've got the right demographics, all the visibility, the access, the egress, the parking, all of the right financials, the economics, the unit economics on that site have to be right. That we're laying it out properly, we're getting the right amount of seating, and it's an efficient layout, that we put the right financing against that project. We've got great financing resources for you to work with if you don't already have them. And that you're set up to be profitable before we even open the restaurant. We do about a 15-page site approval package. Our real estate team works with you and our brokers and to get all the information to do full financial projections to make sure before we even open our doors for grand opening, we've really done a thorough analysis of that location. The good news again is we've got an extraordinary team. They have great data and insights, and we've gotten really, really good with that. So really look forward for you to work with that team to make sure we're in that right location. The second one, mastering the business, this is really where you come in. We've got an outstanding training program. Our operations team and training teams are awesome, really experienced, again, really passionate. But long term, this is about you learning to master the business, not just make money, but make the right money, get the right return on investment. Make sure our service scores are where they need to be so that we've got high rankings on Google and Yelp and all those places, DoorDash, that people are ordering food. We've got, strong management in place, and we're just running the right numbers. Here it talks about some metrics: labor under 25%, sales per labor hour, which we call SPLH, is great. So sales is more than $75 per labor hour. And then our food cost is, we know exactly what food costs should be in the restaurant, and that we're within 1.5% of that theoretical food cost based on your actual sales. So this really is you coming in and working, obviously being trained to our team and by our team and working with our team, but really mastering the business, the Capriotti's business. We call it Cap Mastery, and it's not complicated, right? It's not rocket science, but for many of you, this will be a new venture, and this is super important. And then last, really a long-term commitment to building your revenue. Working again with our marketing team way before you open your restaurant on the whole grand opening and local store marketing planning, making sure that's in place, that we're taking advantage of all the catering opportunities, all the companies, all the, all the social stuff that's going on, whether there's the churches or the, the car dealerships down the street, the sponsorship of teams, might be outdoor marketing, billboards, or even highway signage available. Just working with our marketing team to build your business outside of your four walls, because if you think of mastering the business as sort of inside marketing, like taking great care of customers, then long-term commitment is building the top line and introducing new people to Capriotti's. Our experience is when we do these three things, we win every time, and we win, we see outsized success. So again, I just ask you to make sure that you're comfortable with these three things, working with our team to accomplish these three things, because they are really critical to the success of our restaurants. Bruce? As you go into, again, doing your discovery or due diligence, you'll see that we win awards. We're one of the top brands in the country year after year after year. And it's, again, I think it's just another endorsement of who we are and where we're heading. We're listed in the top 100 fast casual movers and shakers. We're actually number 12, the number 12 restaurant brand out there in the country today, which is it's pretty amazing considering all the restaurant companies that are out there. Little Capriotti's was number 12. We moved up, I think, from number 20 something the previous year. So we are really getting a tremendous amount of recognition. We're listed in top workplaces, top franchise. We win all kinds of innovation awards. So no matter where you look, I mean, these are listed on our website, and there's many, many more than this. But I think there's that third-party recognition of this really is a special brand, and we really are going places. Bruce? And then I think the last thing is, our franchise partners are some of the best in the industry. Here's just some of our partners that have been named the International Franchise Association Franchisees of the Year. That's a tremendous designation, tremendous accomplishment for these folks. It's Brenda Torres, that's out in California. Brenda has 4 or 5 restaurants today.
4.
four. Runs a great business, and she and her husband are tremendous franchisees, and we love working with them. They have both been on our franchise advisory council. The next one from the left is Amber and Preston Wally. They're out in Ohio. Great franchisees, growing rapidly. Really love them. In the middle is Chris Scheimer. Chris is out in the Pennsylvania area, um, nuclear engineer by trade, has been in our franchise advisory council. He still is actually a great franchise partner. Bill Bird, second from the right. He's a multi-unit, multi-brand franchisee, one of the largest franchisees in the country, with a number of other brands like Taco Bell and KFC. In addition to Capriotti's, great operator, has been on our franchise advisory council, and just one of the most respected people in the industry. And then Javier Gomez. Javier's out in California, Northern California, actually. Multi-brand, multi-unit operator again. Great operator, has been in our franchise advisory council. So you can see, the common thread are these are great operators. They're really committed to the growth of Capriotti's. Often will serve on our franchise advisory council, which is great for us because it gives us the kind of feedback and insights we need from real hands-on operators, all growing rapidly, all doing great.
Bruce, yep, that was the last one.
Okay. Bruce, were there any questions that came up during the
Yeah, David. One of the questions was I think there's two questions. So one is, how long does it take to really understand the business? And then the other question was, what makes some franchisees more successful than others?
I'll answer them in reverse.
Okay.
I think our best, most successful franchisees just work with our teams the closest. We have outstanding resources. Each of our teams have tremendous resources at their fingertips. So people that just really collaborate and work, whether it's on marketing opportunities or operational issues, or work with our real estate team to really discuss and get their input and do all the data analytics that we like to do. And so people that work with our teams closely and communicate ongoing do the best. What was the first question?
It was how long does it take to really
Oh,
understand the business?
you'll understand theoretically, you'll understand the business probably before you open your doors. But getting comfortable in the business and really the point where you're like, okay, I'm ready to open my, I'd say 6 months. That's kind of typical. People open their restaurant, get it going, it's doing really well. And then, within six, if they haven't already started, they're starting to look for the next location. Um, we like to take our time on the real estate site search to make sure we are putting these in the right spot. And so it depends upon if you have got restaurant experience or not, but almost regardless, I'd say 6 months is a pretty good, you know, guesstimate.
Yeah, for sure. Well, David, that was all the questions we had. Thank you very much for your time today.
My pleasure. I look forward to speaking with everybody at some point in the future. Thanks a lot.
All right, very good. All right. Now we are moving on to our fabulous marketing team. Welcome, Tamara.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
Fantastic.
Good, good. Happy to be here. Hi to everyone on the call and everyone watching the recording. This is Tamara. My name is Tamara Stanley. I'll start by introducing myself before I get into the slides. What you see in front of you here is a spattering of our marketing team that you'd be exposed to if you joined the Capriotti's brand. Starting with Kim Lewis, who is our Chief Marketing Officer. Kim and I have a long-standing history of working together. We've been together here at Capriotti's for about 2 years. And we have a whole team underneath us that supports our restaurant locations every single day, working tirelessly to help grow the brand, both on the new store marketing side as well as the established locations that we have. I come from Sonic Drive-In. I worked there for over 15 years, for a long time actually, leading marketing for them. So it's really great to be at the Capriotti's brand. So I'm excited to get to talk to you about Capriotti's and all of the things that we're doing to help ensure that the brand promise is delivered to every customer that our franchisees are serving. Do you want to go to the next slide? We have launched a new campaign this year. You might have seen it in the wilds. Hopefully, you have if you've been familiar with the brand. This brand was founded in 1976, so 50 years. It's definitely a work of art. We have iconic sandwiches that really we focus on crafting with care. We prioritize high quality ingredients. And this year, we launched a new creative campaign that we've coined Simply the Best since 1976. And that is really harkening back to the foundation of the brand and how we started. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about that, which gives you an idea of how we're advertising the brand across all of our locations. Why simply the best? That's actually the original tagline. It was in the beginning, they really started with quality is our only gimmick because the founders really wanted to make sure that they weren't just delivering sandwiches, they were delivering really good sandwiches that were high quality. And we continue that today. So when we started working on how do we bring the heritage of the brand back to life this year, it really just fit perfectly that we should use the original tagline, which is simply the best. In Simply the Best, if you go to the next slide, we hit these pillars kind of one at a time, but the total focus on the branded campaign is to talk about our real ingredients, our real tradition, and how we've been around since 1976. That has not changed. If you go to the next slide, the first ingredient that we focus on in this list of real ingredients is our slow roasted turkey that is made in-house every night. It is slow roasted and hand pulled. Like David mentioned, we are the largest supplier of Brattleboro turkeys, which is kind of crazy to say. I never knew I would fall in love with turkeys, but now I use the turkey emoji more than any other one. So it's at the top of my list. But the point is there's no additives, no shortcuts. This is really just turkey. It's real turkey and quite frankly, unforgettable flavor. Um, if you go to the next slide, the second pillar of real ingredients that we talk about within this campaign is our award-winning cheesesteaks. In fact, they're so award-winning that we're now in the Cheesesteak Hall of Fame, which is great. We specialize in these cheesesteaks. You can make them with hot or sweet peppers or both. They have mushrooms and onions. And if you're following along in our social channels, you will see a lot of content about how our cheesesteaks are made the best. We have anything from classic steak to chicken. We also feature Impossible, which is not common in the fast casual market. And then the only place you can find premium Snake River Farms American Wagyu, typically only seen in fine dining restaurants. And that is available in a cheesesteak, but it happens to be our third pillar of real ingredients. So if you go to the next slide. If you've heard of Snake River Farms, maybe you haven't, maybe you haven't, but as you know, Wagyu beef is, in fact, it's rated so highly, it does exceed the USDA prime grade scale. It's truly melt in your mouth roast beef that we both put on the grill. We also put on our cold sandwiches, and it's been a very important ingredient to ensure that we make sure that our customer knows why this is such a high quality ingredient. If you go to the next slide. So less me talking about it, let me show you some content that we pulled together to tell the brand story. Go ahead, Bruce.
Every night while you're asleep, we slow roast grade A butterball turkeys, then hand pull them every morning and carefully slice the most premium beef sold in America, Snake River Farms American Wagyu, all to craft our extraordinary sandwiches. We've been doing this for 50 years. Ever since our founders opened the first Capriotti sandwich shop in Wilmington, Delaware. They believed real food made with the best high-quality ingredients was worth the extra effort. Today, our dedication to quality hasn't changed. It's why the Bobby was voted America's greatest sandwich. Why we've earned a place in the Cheesesteak Hall of Fame. And why our sandwiches are more than just sandwiches. They're tradition. Capriotti Sandwich Shop. Proud to be simply the best since 1976.
So that's simply the best. It's a campaign that we've launched. That's not the only thing we're doing. We do a lot of things to steward this brand, and but we like to talk a lot in this webinar, in particular, about our new store marketing process because when you're considering opening a restaurant and becoming a franchisee, we think it's really important that you understand how we guide you through that process. We've been refining this over the last couple of years and making it better. We continue to make it better as we learn, as we open new shops and we learn what works and what doesn't work. But essentially, our marketing strategy, the plan comes together in a way to support you across our exclusive three pillars that we talk about. And those pillars include our four walls, which the way to think about that is it's what's happening on site in your shop. We intend to build excitement with banners and balloons and POP and even a giant 50-foot turkey if we can get permission from your landlord. The point is we want a new store marketing strategy that makes you look just like the the best Capriotti's that we've ever opened. And that's the four walls portion of the plan. The second is the four blocks, which is all about what we call neighborhood awareness. It's about growing loyalty locally and building a community of followers before you ever open with both organic social as well as brand ambassador outreach. We guide you through that process and we help do that for you. And then the third pillar is about community awareness. This is more of your paid media portion. It includes public relations as well. It really is designed to educate people within a 4 to 5 mile radius about your store and that it's coming soon. And oftentimes we'll kick off with pre grand opening media and then we follow with post grand opening. We don't always do that, but a lot of times we do. Um, a lot of times we're going into markets where somebody doesn't know that we're simply the best and we've been around since 1976. So we have a lot of work to do to make sure that we can communicate that. And when we put this marketing plan together, I'm going to touch on the process. The goal is to touch on all three of these pillars so that you clearly know what we're thinking about when it comes to those three pillars for your particular location. We do not have a one size fits all. We have a plan that we put together that's designed for your trade area, not for someone else's. So if you go to the next slide, that kind of kicks us into the process and how it works. It doesn't happen overnight. We really think it takes about 6 months to do this successfully. We start by assessing your location. What's the trade area that you have selected? Clearly, the brand development team is with you in that site selection, but as a marketing team, we have to get educated on who your customer is. And we start building out that plan as early as we can. Now, sometimes, we're pressed against a little bit of a tighter timeline. We can work shorter, but we like to have time where we can learn who you are as a franchisee, what's your story, what community connections do you have, because building off of that really puts us, at a good advantage. And then about 4 months out, we start practicing with you, like educating you on how to order POP, educating you on how we're going to buy media. And then, really, from a marketing standpoint, we like to have every kind of thing kind of locked in about 3 months out. And that is so that when you get into the stressful time of opening your location, you already know who your marketing partners are and that we're going to be there to help you make sure that we can open this location successfully. And then, we get everything locked in before your grand opening ever comes. Now, if it moves and it shifts, which they often do, we are flexible and nimble, but we feel like a plan is better for all parties involved. If you want to go to the next page. We love to talk about the marketing investment. We repeat this over and over again so that everybody understands and you have your eyes wide open. We look at our marketing investment in four different buckets. The first is what we call your NSO marketing funds. And we do ask that you invest $30,000 in the opening. That does not mean that it's all media. That includes all three categories of the marketing plan. It includes, making sure you have the right POP, making sure we have the right resources to support you in social media. We do ask that we have those funds in house 8 weeks prior to your opening. And the reason is because then we have the funds secured and it's easier for us to just approve invoices and get your plan going. That's the NSO marketing funds. That happens 8 weeks prior. The second is your national ad fund. This begins accruing on opening day. It's 2% of your it's a 2% contribution, which is an investment that really funds system-wide marketing activities, all the creative. The Simply the Best campaign has to get created. It includes, assistance and help on digital marketing. We have a very strong loyalty program at this point in time, and it help funds that. It helps with promotional development and just a lot of different things that it helps support. What I have found in brands is when we work together, we are better together than we are apart. That's why you're buying a franchise. You're not buying a franchise to run your own shop. You're buying a franchise so you can use our model. The third is local co-op funds. That is what's unique about Capriotti's, and there are other brands that do this, but I think we've done this really smartly. We fund local paid media within your trade area, so 5 mile radius. So if you're opening in Oklahoma City, as an example, you don't have another store around you. You don't need to be paying for media in Tulsa. You need to be paying for media in Oklahoma City. I only use that example because it's my hometown, but there's probably, similar DMAs around your own town that you're considering opening Capriotti's. The goal is that we are really targeting customers within a 5 mile radius of your location, not customers that would never consider going to your location. That is your co-op media funds. That starts accruing on day one when you open as well. And then local LSM funds, we like to make sure we call this out because we really do accrue a limited amount in co-op funds. We do ask that our franchisees invest about 1.5% in after your NSO period and in local store marketing on an ongoing basis. And the way to think about this is like you kind of hold the keys, but we train you and guide you. We give you directions on this month. You should really be focusing on catering and passing out flyers to your local schools, or we in football season we encourage catering for football teams. Like there's a lot of different local initiatives you can get involved in depending on your market. And our goal is that our NSO team has you prepared and trained and ready to take on that LSM once your new store period ends. So that's the dollars. The other thing I will show you is an example of local creative that we create for your particular location. It's not just this video, but it's an example of how we would edit specifically for your location. So the music is still not playing, Bruce. We're going to figure this out.
Well, I'm sorry, I can hear it
No.
on my end,
Yeah,
so
I
thank you
know.
for letting
It's
me
okay.
know.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
But it doesn't play on our end. But there is music bed behind that. And in no way do I want you to think that's it. There's a whole creative package that we put with it, including stills and our main focus from a media standpoint really is social media. We find it to be the most effective in driving true traffic to your location and also driving new customers into your loyalty program, which then makes it more efficient for us to reach customers in your trade area when we're doing big promotions. The last thing I'll say is it really is, I mean, owning a Capriotti's is an investment in time, money, and passion, but the people here are so committed to the brand. I'm proud to be a part of the Capriotti sandwich family. We do ask that you trust our process, but recognize that we know that no two shops are exactly alike. We do. We want to be your partner, not we're not telling you exactly how to do it. You have a seat at the table right there with us, and we build plans that aim to grow. In fact, we just opened a store yesterday that went really, really well. We feel really good about an opening, which happens most weeks. So commit to community outreach. You are the brand advocate. Wear your Capriotti shirt everywhere you go and pass out business cards. Prepare to just represent the brand locally. You have to get on the chamber, and when you're buying into a franchise that has the amount of size of shops that we have, you do have to be the brand advocate. You've now tasted our brand and you know why our brand is different, and it's your job to really make sure that others around you know that. But no, we're here to support you. You have to believe in the power of marketing. I always like to say, like, if you don't turn it off and see what happens, it doesn't work if we don't market. And like at the end of the day, we're here to support you. So that's all I had to share today, Bruce. I don't know if you have any
So
questions.
awesome.
I'm happy
Yeah, I
to.
mean, I think look, what if I was a new franchisee and I opened and I went through the NSO process, and I'm meeting with that team, and let's say 6, 8 months down the road, I'm contributing my 2%. And one day somebody walks into my restaurant and says, "Hey, how about I've got this Valpak offer that I can share with you, and here's the cost and yada yada yada." What would you recommend me do as a franchisee once I get that information from, a potential vendor?
Yeah, we don't want anybody to do anything without asking us our opinion because we've seen it all. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy Valpak. That's my first recommendation. But
I'm old, Tamara. I'm
I
old.
know, I know, I am too.
Hey, wait a
Believe it
minute.
or
What do you
not,
mean,
believe it or not, direct mail is making a comeback, but there's a certain way to do it that
Sure.
makes it right. But I really want them to see us as an extension of their team. Like we are
Right.
a team, a small but mighty team, and they will email in our marketing inbox, and we're on our toes, ready to respond with anything you get. And it's not even just that, like there are vendors swarming local businesses all the
Oh, yeah.
time with the latest gadget or gizmo or what. And a lot of it's bright, shiny objects. And we say, don't get distracted, trust the process and listen to us when we tell you what to do and when. But I will say, some of the greatest ideas come from random vendors that call on a franchisee. So I don't
True.
want anyone to be shy about asking or think like, oh, they're going to think I'm stupid if I ask this question. No, absolutely not. In
Yeah.
fact, I was present at a brand that wouldn't have had breakfast without a franchisee asking to do breakfast. So here at
Right.
Capriotti's, we like ideas and we see it as a partnership. So you just always ask.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that was our
Okay.
last slide. So thank you
Happy
so
to be
much,
here.
Tamara.
You're welcome. Thanks, Bruce.
All
Bye.
right, take care. Bye-bye. Next up is our amazing real estate team. We have Sarah Bloom here with us today. And just to, add a quick comment, and I think that idea really holds true, within every aspect of this business. And so oftentimes, as you've gone through the whole real estate process, you've signed the lease, you've opened your store. Next thing you know, years have gone by and it's time to renew your lease. That is an opportunity for you to re-engage with our real estate team to seek that support and seek out guidance there and best practices, tricks of the trade, whatever it might be, to make sure that, hey, I'm renewing a lease I'm sorry, Sarah, I'm taking up some of your time, but I'm just making a quick point here that it's so important to utilize not just the tools that are available to you at Capriotti's, but the humans that are available to you at Capriotti's. I mean, Sarah's a great example of that. She is super talented. She is a leader in real estate and she knows this brand inside and out. So, Sarah, with that beautiful introduction.
Yeah. Thanks, Bruce.
You're welcome.
Feeling energetic today. Wow.
Yeah.
Uh, no, you're right. It's not just about like getting you started and kicking things off. It's about utilizing us through the entire process and through the life of your agreement, your franchise, your store. We're here to help. So that's definitely what we're all about. And between me and David, you're going to get to talk to us a lot. A lot of people have a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, especially if they've never chosen commercial real estate before, never owned their own business. It can be a bit intimidating, but our job is to make sure that you feel comfortable and confident. So we hold your hand through the entire process. David handles basically Eastern US and I handle Western US. So you'll get to know at least one, if not both of us, pretty well. Like I mentioned, a lot of people who do join our system, this is their first time owning any kind of store. They're very excited to be owning and operating their own business. And as you guys are driving around your cities, your towns, you start looking, right? You start seeing the for lease signs places and you start wondering, oh, well, would that be a good location? So here's some things that make what we consider to be an A+ location. First of all, we want to be in about the 1,400 to 1,600 square foot range. There's some flexibility within that because our goal is always to find the best space and do our best to make it work, whether that's existing infrastructure or existing restaurant or something that's brand new. We're going to do our best to make it work. But we do want to find something that's highly visible. You just spent a while listening to Tamara and her talk about all that marketing, all that money, the importance of all of that. Well, great signage and high visibility is one of the ways that you can really set yourself up for success from the beginning, so that people aren't trying to find you, searching where is this new Capriotti's that's coming to town. So, as you're driving around and you see those like Superior end caps or a pad outside of Walmart that's got great visibility, no trees blocking it, that's what we're looking for. We would love to be in centers like a Walmart anchored center, a Target anchored center, Home Goods, Home Depot, Lowe's. Those are great centers for us. And more specifically, we want to be with other restaurants, non-competitive restaurants, Panda, other national co-tenants like Panda, National Burger, Chipotle, Starbucks, that type of thing is very beneficial because they are also spending money on marketing, right? They are driving people to that center. So you're getting the benefit of that and you're not having to retrain people's habits or get them to think about going a different direction. We don't want people having to split their time between, oh, I really want my wife really wants a burger, but I really want a Capriotti's. Well, if you're in the same center, you can kind of share that business. So that's a benefit. And then we would love to find and utilize existing restaurants. I'll be honest, it's very competitive right now for that. Nationwide, it is hard to find just existing second generation restaurants. But if that is an opportunity, we will certainly do our best to utilize existing infrastructure. But again, we want to find the best location. Sometimes that might be, it was a T-Mobile previously, or it was a local place previously. So we can make it work. Our design and construction team is great at that. So that's just as you're driving around, what you can be looking at and thinking about. Again, a lot of people have questions like, okay, what does the overall real estate selection process look like? How long is this going to take? And I will say, finding your site and negotiating the site is usually the longest part of the process, because we're not going to settle for a C location. So sometimes we find the right thing and we find it right away and we start negotiating on it, and sometimes we don't, and it takes a little bit longer. But we always do two things that we want to make sure you understand that are important are the broker relationship within your community. So it's a national broker relationship that we have, but they are local to your area. And they are a commercial agent who works, in retail specifically. We don't want to use the residential person who helped you buy your house because they don't know the landlords, they don't know where Starbucks is moving to, they don't know where Smith's or Albertsons or, whatever it might be is going. So it is very important that you have a broker within your community, and we help set up that relationship, right? If you don't have somebody, and most of our franchisees don't, we connect you with somebody who will be a good representative for you. At the end of the day, they do work for you. So it's very important that you're comfortable and confident with them, that you like them. If you come back to us and tell us, hey, I don't really like this person, that's fine. We'll find you somebody new. So that is an important relationship though, because they do the full site search. They're the ones who, know the people and what's happening locally. So they spend the first like 2 to 3 weeks really digging up the sites, presenting them to you and us. And then our team takes those sites and we run them through our analytics program. And we look at them, right? We look at them at the 30,000-foot view on a map. We look at where the competitors are, where the daytime population is, where the residential is, the psychographics, the demographics. We look at all of that. And that gives us a good picture of like, hey, yeah, this is a good site. We're interested in it. Or, hey, we have some concerns about this. Maybe it's an up and coming trade area. We spend some time looking at it and giving it a site score, and we share that information with you. And this is when we really start to talk. We start to talk through all these different sites. And then after that 2 to 3 weeks, we're also planning our in-person market tour because we want to see those top sites that start to bubble up. We want to see them in person with you and with your broker. That's the in-person site tour. And generally, we're seeing anywhere from 4 to 6 or 7 sites that have been identified that everyone's excited about. We're driving around your town. We're getting to know the area, and we're also just spending time with you, right? We're answering questions as they come up. We're kind of explaining the nuance of real estate and why it makes it, why it's an art, but also a science at the same time. And maybe some things that you might not have thought about, like, hey, yes, this is a good center, but we're here and it feels kind of dead, or we like it, but the access is really, really challenging, those types of things that we're going to look at when we're there in person. And then ideally, we may have already found a site, even before we get there, that we really like, that we can go ahead and start negotiating on. And that's called a letter of intent. It's a non-binding agreement. Our letter of intent is pretty hefty, I would say. Sometimes they vary from a page to ours is about 13 pages. And that really outlines the overall economic and big picture deal terms so that we can nail those down with the landlord. And this often is what takes the longest. We go back and forth 3 or 4 times with the landlord, trading paper, trading comments, truly negotiating, and this is where David and I really come in and explaining each of these different deal points, what has changed from the last negotiation, ideas for how we can, get to hopefully a middle ground, right, with the landlord. And ideally, we would like to have at least 2 sites that we're negotiating on at one time so that you can see the differences between landlords. They may be very, very different sites. One might be new construction, one might be existing. It's helpful to see the differences. And then also if one falls apart, we have a backup one. So once we get through that letter of intent and we're looking like the deal is shaping up, we put together a real estate committee package, which goes to our senior leadership, and they review that and ideally give approval for that site. David and I, don't like to spend our time or your time negotiating on a site that we don't think is going to get approved. So we're going to be very honest with you about that from the get-go if there are major concerns about that. But the other benefit of that approval in that package is that the banks usually want that for your funding. And so that's something that we provide to you as well. And then you kind of come to what we would say is a handshake agreement on the letter of intent. Again, the major economics are buttoned down, and then we pass that over to a real estate attorney to handle the lease. Again, we're still very involved in all of that process, but we do let the real estate specific attorney hash out the legal language, right? And that's when you kind of start to spend money on your site, maybe start on design. We bring the design and construction team. And this is just kind of a basic screenshot of our analytics program. It shows you again how we would look at a site. We look at your overall areas, your territory, where there are holes in the market, where the competition is, where we might put the first store versus where a second store could go, market optimization, and then the demographics and the psychographics, which we're always happy to provide you with that information as well. So we have a lot of tools at our disposal, and we're also always refreshing our tools and updating and, getting more and more accurate based off of new store openings and everything. So there's always a moving and changing, world of analytics, but we have a lot of information that we pull and rely on to help us make an informed decision. I
Well,
feel like I
Sarah,
sped through that, Bruce. What did I miss?
no, I think you're fine. I think that one thing I think that's super important that you guys really do, aside from the analytics, if you would kind of speak to a little bit to the site approval packages, because that's not just a package that, is approving a site. That's actually something that can go to the lender. I mean, it's a high quality document. So just speak a little bit to that. Because
Sure.
it's a tool in the toolbox, but it really helps the franchise partner make an educated decision, right? So please.
Yeah. The approval package looks at the specifics of the site details. So everything that we've negotiated, the size of the space, your rent escalations, your additional rents, the site score, the demographic score, trade area reports, traffic counts, competition, where the nearest Capriotti's is. It's about a 15-page document that we put together, pictures from we were there in person, showing the site, all of that, showcasing where our ideal population is coming from, right? Both residential and also where any and hopefully a lot of the lunchtime crowd is, right? Is it right around us? Are there major office parks? Are there a lot of industrial? We show all of that to, in many ways, it's David and I proving why we all believe that this is a good site and why we have spent the time on it, and that also that it works out in terms of break even and operational numbers in terms of the rent that you're paying and compare that to average unit volume, et cetera, so that, we're not saying, oh, we're just paying $200,000 in rent, no big deal, So that's very important. And again, the senior leadership team looks at that, often asks a lot of questions about it. And, sometimes they ask hard questions, right? Like they spend time really making sure that we understand and that we've done the due diligence to make sure a site is worthwhile. But yeah, to Bruce's point, that does also go to the lender essentially to ensure the same thing, right? Like it has the break-even number estimates in it, and it shows, based off of our average unit volume, why this location will be similar, why it fits into that portfolio, and therefore why they should approve it for, your
Yeah,
lending package. So
that's awesome,
it is
Sarah.
a hefty
Oh, go ahead.
document that's helpful.
It is. It truly is. Well, Sarah,
Mhm.
thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bruce.
All right. Well, next up, we have Glenn Chambers, VP of Brand Expansion. Hi, Glenn. So I can't hear you. It's not often I say that, isn't it? No.
How about now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Sorry, a little computer glitch there.
It's okay,
Um,
man. It happens.
well, fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. As Sarah said, you can go ahead to the next slide. Daniel and myself will really start working side by side with you guys once you start finding that space and you're looking to get to that LOI and lease process. They bring us in, and then we're going to really help you through the entire process of getting you from the lease to open certificate of occupancy. So let's kind of talk about a little bit about what we do. Number one, as we said, we work with real estate. Let's make sure that we know what the site looks like. Sarah says we're looking 12 to 1,500 square feet. We're going to get a layout of that location. Daniel's going to take it and we're going to make sure we can make it look like a Capriotti's. Is it a square? Is it a circle? Is it a triangle? What does the space look like? Let's make sure that we can truly lay it out and make it look real. Then we're going to take you through everything. We're going to have kitchen plans done, putting all of our equipment in there. We're going to work with architects to get all of your plans done. We're going to get you into permitting to make sure that we're set, good to go. We're going to help you find a GC. We're going to guide you through the process with that GC, any site visits that we might have. And then, as I said, let's get to that certificate of occupancy. So let's dig a little bit deeper into each phase. What's going to happen is every step is a little bit. So ideally, it takes about 30 days to get that preliminary layout and your kitchen plans done. Typically another 30 to 45 days to get your complete set of plans done. We do a full set, including mechanical, structural, engineering. We want to make sure that you are set, good to go. Permitting is our biggest unknown in this opening process for Capriotti's. Your permitting could take 30 days. It could take 6 months. Luckily, we do have, 5-6 years of historical data. So we try and average where we think we're going to be in the process, but do keep that in mind. Once we get that permit, we've already selected a GC. Let me step back a little bit. We always want you to have at least 3 GCs to get bids, make sure that we're getting the best bang for the buck. We've got national equipment companies where we have negotiated the lowest price possible to help you through that. We'll get all that stuff locked and loaded so that once you are set with that permit, your GC's good to go, we want to roll. The average construction time is running anywhere from 90 to 120 days, depending upon if there's any holidays. And then our goal is to get that certificate of occupancy. We will have you open 2 weeks following certificate of occupancy. So how does this all work during the process? So you and Sarah or David have been having these weekly, bi-weekly calls, meetings, touch bases, and now you've come over to us. During the actual design process and permitting process, we're going to have bi-weekly meetings just with our internal team here, making sure that we stay on track, answer any questions, things like that. Once you get ready to start construction, things are going to get crazy. We're going to turn those calls into weekly calls. And what's going to happen is we're going to coordinate with all the other departments internally. So we're going to work very closely with supply chain, with IT, with marketing, with training to make sure that you and your team have everything set up in place, ready to go when we're ready to market. We're going to work on getting your Cisco and your Pepsi set up. We're going to make sure you've got all your POS ordered, ready to install. We're going to make sure that you come here to Las Vegas and do your 4 weeks of training because it is so important that you learn how to run the restaurant inside and out. Not only how do you make that Bobby and that cheesesteak, but how do you also run the back of the house? How do we take inventory? How do we do all those other things? And I know Jason's going to get into that as well. But we want you to learn all that stuff. And then working with marketing as well. I know that they talked about before having that money, exactly what's going to happen during that process, and working closely with that marketing team. We will work also with the training team to schedule your opening. So as we said, once we get that certificate of occupancy, 2 weeks later, we're going to get you open. The trainers for your first store will always send you out 2 trainers. They're going to be there about 5 days prior, and then that first 5 to 7 days after, just to make sure that you and your team are doing everything right. We're getting the biggest bang for our buck, and we are serving the best sandwich in the cleanest restaurant to keep people coming back again and again. At the end of the day, the sooner we can do that, the sooner we can get you profitable with the help of Mr. Bird here, who's coming up next, the sooner you're going to continue to start this process again, and we can go over and over again. That's why it's super exciting. Once you do open, you transition into the mastery program, which we call Cap Mastery, because we want Jason and his team of directors of operation to be able to help you master the art of running your Capriotti's so that you can continue down the development road. So it's a lot to take in for sure. It's a long process, but we try and hold your hand through the whole thing and make it as easy as possible. Bruce, is there anything I missed?
No. No, but I do have a question for you.
Okay.
One of the things Sarah mentioned was, second gen space and the limited availability of second gen restaurant space. But, I'd like to quell some of the rumors that it's often a question that we get, should I be looking for second gen restaurant space? I'd love for you to speak a little bit about, whether or not there's real savings in that sort of scenario.
Depending upon what type of restaurant, how long it's been open, it can definitely be cost savings. Things to think about is every one of our Capriotti's restaurants needs a grease trap. So that is always a huge expense if we're going into a brand new building. The other big thing is that we need a hood. So if you're going into an existing, say, Quiznos, they don't have hoods because they don't have grills. So going into an existing one of those may not be as beneficial as if you were going into an existing Jersey Mike's or something
Which
like that,
or
or
whatever. Yeah.
an existing pizza place that
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
mom and pop down the street where the hood is already there. And that's the great thing about Daniel and myself is that once Sarah, David, and you come up with a location, share pictures, and we look at it, walk through it, hey, that hood will work. That bathroom can stay there. We will always try and maximize as much of existing infrastructure as possible to save you money. Trust me, we don't want your build outs to be $500,000 or $600,000 because we have to move bathrooms from the front of the restaurant to the back of the restaurant and move columns here and there. We
Right.
want to try and use as much existing, but unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work. So just kind of keep that in mind. But yeah, 100%, we will try and save you that money if possible.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much, Glenn, for your time
Welcome.
today. All
Thank you
right.
so much. Have a good day.
All right.
Bye bye.
All right. Next up, we have Jason Bird, Assistant VP of Franchise Operations. Welcome, Jason.
All right, thanks, Bruce, and thanks, Mama Glenn. Thank you all for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to connect with you guys. Like Bruce said, my name is Jason Bird. I'm the Assistant Vice President of Franchise Operations. I oversee our incredible team of directors of franchise operations, which we call DFOs, who will be your dedicated support team throughout your journey with us. So basically, once you get through training, once you get the shop open, we are going to be your main point of contact. We are going to help you with everything from an operational perspective, liaison through marketing, through accounting, through any other in the departmental thing that you need help with, whether it be IT, anything. We are going to be your main point of contact. We're going to become your best friend. But before I get into the operational training support that we'll provide, I want to kind of share my background, just because I know where you guys are sitting today. So about 10 years ago, my dad and I were evaluating franchise opportunities together. And we started with a list of over 100 different brands. We narrowed it down to 10 and then ultimately narrowed it down to 3. And just like you, we found ourselves on this discovery call with Capriotti's. So what won us over was first quality of food, like we've been discussing this entire call. Is truly what sets us apart. No one does it like us. No one takes the time. No one does the quality. No one serves extraordinary like we did. But equally important was the family feel of the brand. Obviously, a father and son, family was our number one thing. So that culture spoke to us in a way that no other brand had, and it executed in our core values. So we went on to open the Capriotti's in Kennesaw, Georgia, and then went on to acquire 3 more in Maryland, and ultimately opened up 2 more to have a portfolio of 6. And in 2021, I transitioned over to the corporate team to better help all the franchisees in the system because I believe in the brand so much. So a little bit about our support team. I've been in the restaurant industry for about 17 years and been with Capriotti's for almost a decade, 5 years on the corporate side. And I know firsthand the type of support that's essential when launching and scaling a franchise. And we have the team set up to deliver that for you. We have 4 directors of franchise operations that have over 100 years of combined restaurant experience. They're going to be your go-to experts who will guide and support you before, during, and after your grand opening. We're going to be on speed dials. We're going to be on weekly Teams calls. We're going to be going through P&Ls, and I'll get into P&Ls, how fast we want to get to those. But mainly the training and pre-opening support, like Glenn said, You're going to go out to Vegas. You're going to get trained. You're going to go out there with Ron and his team, and you're going to get into shops, and you're going to learn how to make bobbies. But there's going to be things that there's a lot thrown at you in 2 to 3 weeks, and you don't need to take it all in. Your DFO is going to be there to help you. The trainers are going to be there at the shop to help you open, and then your DFO is going to be there to help you guide you through the life of your shop. And as you approach opening day, the training captains will come. They will stay with you from 5 to 7 days, sometimes even up to a month, depending on where you're at. So once you're open, you'll transition fully into the Cat Mastery program. And this program is designed to develop your team, grow your business, and maintain our brand excellence. So the program is built around 2 core pillars, and you'll hear this said on any webinar we have. Anytime you speak to Ashley Morris, our CEO, he's going to say this acronym. It is USOCLS. It's uncompromising standards of quality and service. So what that means is you're going to have regular check-ins with your DFO to evaluate key areas such as staffing, your guest satisfaction, training, marketing, overall performance, and ultimately we're going to be going through your P&Ls and all of your metrics that help run your shop and make you successful. Number 2, profit. You win, we win, right? So it is one of our number one core values. Our goal is to not just help you succeed, but thrive. The faster you guys can get to profitability and you guys can get to shop number 2 and number 3 and you can get your feet under you, the better. So we're going to have scheduled business reviews. Your DFO is going to work with you analyzing your food and labor. We're going to review those P&Ls. Like I've said, the faster we can get to those, the better. We're going to set sales goals. We're going to explore strategies, and we're going to go through all these platforms that we have. Do have a lot of different platforms that we use at Capriotti's to help us succeed. We got Momo's, you got your back office, you got Launch, you've got all these different platforms, and it's a lot. And you need to get a good basics of it when you're in training and when the trainers get there, but your DFO is going to be there. He's going to be your right-hand man to help you guide you through the life of that shop. And beyond calls and reviews, your DFO is going to regularly visit your shop. We're going to come out when you need it. If there's an emergency, we're going to come out and help you. We're going to have quarterly visits as often as possible. But those visits aren't made to be gotcha moments. They're made to make sure we're maintaining brand standards. We're at operational excellence and guest experience is at an all-time high. So we're there to help you. We're there to make sure you have long-term success and that you can get to that multi-unit growth. So just kind of in closing, Caprioti isn't just a franchise. It truly is a community. I know the excitement, the questions, and even the nerves that come with exploring this new venture because I've lived it. And I can say there's no other brand that I'd rather do it with. So that is all I got, Bruce.
That's awesome, Jason. One of the questions that I've gotten a couple times recently is regarding, hey, we're roasting fresh turkeys in house all day. We're hand shredding those turkeys. It's got to be a lot of extra labor. How true is that?
I mean, it is, but we manage it. And this is actually a fun thing we're doing right now. We're doing this Summer Olympics, right? In a couple of our shops where they're doing all these different like prep and labor things, and they're doing like the Olympics, right?
Right.
And one of the things is turkey pulling, and they're timing all of their employees how fast they can pull a turkey and get our 35% yield. These guys are pulling turkeys in 4 minutes. A full 25-pound turkey in 4 minutes. So now that we're through Olympics and they're pulling a turkey in 10 minutes, we're like, what's going on? What's happening? So it's just showing that these guys can do it. You got to make things fun. The days do get a little bit monotonous, so you got to kind of throw some fun things out there. But it does that labor, but it's for the quality, right? Yeah. No one else is doing it. It is hands down the best turkey sandwich you're going to receive in any sandwich shop in America. Yes, it does, but we're pulling them in 4 minutes.
Yeah, so. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Jason, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Bruce.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Next up, we have Bill Bird with Directed Equity. You know, listen, we talked earlier about building relationships and wanting to have relationships with our franchise partners, but Bill and his team are, longtime vendor partners of ours, and they do a great job supporting our franchise partners. So welcome, Bill.
Bruce, thank you. And thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
Well, I would love to talk about lending and financing options for your new franchise candidates. And let me start out and kind of go through the process a little bit here. Is that here at Directed Equity, we want to start out, have an intro call that we have. We schedule it, and it's usually 15, 20 minutes. And we talk a little bit about, hey, what your project cost is, what kind of down payment we're thinking, kind of a high level, but we want to answer the questions that you might have. And we'll cover, talking at a high level, both the SBA, Small Business Administration. It would be a 7A loan. We'll talk about that. And then also, if you want to use the ROBS program, and I'll talk more about that in a second, and that's where you use qualified retirement dollars to fund your business or a portion of your business. That's something that we'll talk about in the intro call. The intro call normally leads to a no obligation webinar. And that webinar, we schedule it. And for Capriotti's, I handle those. I have a team of people, but I handle the Capriotti's account. And you and I will go through a webinar. It's a Teams call. It's a PowerPoint. It's live. It's way too important to talk about something or taping it. So it is live as we go through. And we're going to go into detail about the SBA. So let me kind of hit just a couple of things about the SBA that may help you with some questions that you have now. Typically, and it's based on credit worthiness, or what they call the borrower's credit worthiness, is that we can look at a project cost and we can typically get in with as low as 10%. So if we're at a point, and I'm using round numbers today, say it was $600,000 to open up the store, then we would need $60,000 at the closing, and we would have $540,000 loan. It would be a 10-year loan. The interest rate, once again, credit worthiness, with Capriotti's these days, we're doing about what's called Prime Plus 2. Prime Plus 2 is Prime 6.75. That's what it is today. And then the lender will add typically 2.25 to 2.75. But because Capriotti is such a good brand, the lenders will come in at Prime Plus 2. So it'd be an 8.75 adjustable rate loan. What that means, if rates go up, your monthly payment goes up. If they go down, it goes down. So right now, question comes up, well, what's happening with rates today? Well, we have a new chairman of the Fed. They're meeting next week, and we're anticipating that we'll probably see them hold the rate where they're going to be at right now. And so it's more to come on that. But probably the rate 8.75 is pretty real right now that we can stay with it on that. Right. Credit score, we got to have a minimum credit score of 650. Anything over 720 is outstanding. And every once in a while, Bruce, you bring me some great candidates that have 800 credit scores. Those are great, and we certainly appreciate that. But we have to have a minimum credit score of 650. Outside income is always a real benefit that we have on there. Many times we don't have direct industry experience, but we have what we call transferable skill sets. And what we do is we look at your background, what you've been doing for the last 15 years, and we tie that experience into running the Capriotti's. And that really goes well on there. So what we're looking at. SBA, there are no prepayment penalties, meaning that you can pay off the loan as quickly as you want on there. That works really well. And when we do the webinar, we'll talk about the SBA guarantee fee, but it runs approximately 2% of the loan amount, roughly, that we have on there. Bruce, any thoughts on the SBA or any other questions I can bring up or answer?
No, not at this moment. No.
Okay. And then if you can go to the next slide. Now, this is something that's a little bit unique. Directed Equity has been in business 22 years. And our founder, his name is Mark Chalice. Mark is one of the leading authorities on this program. This is called ROBS, R-O-B-S, Rollover Business Startup. And this is where you have an opportunity to take qualified retirement dollars, reinvest those dollars in your business without paying taxes or penalties. So let's take a moment and let's go back to our original project cost, $600,000, and we need $60,000 to put down on it. Well, Bill, I don't have $60,000, but I have money in a traditional IRA or a former employer 401k, 403b, 457, TSP. So there's different places where it can come from. Those dollars can be used for the down payment. Also, those dollars can be used to pay for the franchise fee, any legitimate business expense. And if you want, we'll talk about that. If your attitude is, Bill, I don't want to touch my retirement dollars, certainly respect that, and we will leave this alone and we'll focus on the SBA on that. But the ROBS program has been around for quite a while. It is a great program. It is not a loan. It is a true investment. So there is no debt service on this. So another concept I was working with yesterday, I have the person who's going to use their ROBS to pay for the full project. And when that happens, then they're not incurring interest for the year. And so those dollars would be dropping to the bottom line. Once again, we'll talk more about it as we go through. Great program. It's purely an option, but happy to go through that with you on there. Questions, Bruce?
No, but I will tell everyone that, it's great to start early in the process, talking about your financeability. Julie and I can make direct introductions to Bill and his team, and we can get things kicked off very quickly. But I will tell you that Directed Equity will work very hard for you. And, they're phenomenal at building relationships with people just like we are. So thank you, Bill, for your time today. We really
Absolutely, Bruce. And I look forward to speaking with your candidates. It's an exciting time. My information is here on these slides. If anybody has questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Call me, email me, or text me, and I look forward to speaking with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Well, just one more piece before we wrap things up today. As we've talked about, this is our 50th year. And in lieu of that, we have created a program that is something that we have never done really at Capriotti's, and that's an incentive program. And so what we're, 50 years, 50 people, 50% off. Well, what does that mean? So we're looking for 50 new franchise partners. We are offering 50% off of our franchise fees. So that would take a franchise fee from $30,000 to $15,000. And then royalties, you have an opportunity to achieve up to 2 years of royalty rate at 3%, which is 50% off of our 6% royalty. So happy to go into more detail with you on a one-on-one conversation. But that is an amazing opportunity and is going to save you a significant amount of money as you develop your first store and then continue to grow. And finally, we just want to thank you for your time today. We really appreciate you spending part of your afternoon with us to learn more about the opportunity. Julie and I are available to you anytime. We're happy to, get into detail on any subject, reviewing a franchise disclosure document or real estate or site select, anything you want to know about, we're happy to talk about with you. But once again, thank you so much for your time today, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you very much. Have a great day.